2 weeks had passed since the humans arrived on the celestial nexus. Lyra found herself looking forward to each morning, when she would meet Captain Olivia Kim and her crew. Olivia had a way of making Lyra feel special, something she had never experienced. Before today, they were scheduled to visit the lower markets where traders from the outer system sold rare goods. Lyra arrived at the human quarters early. She had spent extra time preparing her appearance, applying subtle shimmer to her purple skin, and arranging her hair in the formal Zilani style. Olivia opened the door wearing her blue uniform but with her long hair loose around her shoulders. "Lyra," she said with a wide smile. "You look especially lovely today." "Is that a special occasion outfit?" Lyra felt her skin warm with pleasure. "No," she said. "This is just a formal style for guides when showing important visitors the market." They walked side by side through the bustling corridors of the station. Lyra noticed how other aliens watched them. Many seemed curious about the human. Some looked surprised to see Lyra walking so confidently beside her. One Zilani trader actually stopped and stared, his oval eyes widening at the sight of her. The market spread across 3 levels of the station. The air was filled with strange smells, sounds, and colors. Vendors called out in different languages promoting their wares. Some sold foods, others offered rare minerals, technology, or art. "This is amazing," Olivia said, looking around at the colorful stalls. "How do you find anything specific in this chaos?" Lyra smiled. "The chaos is only on the surface. There is a system. Each section is organized by planet of origin, then by type of good. The colors of the stalls also provide information." She pointed to a row of blue tents. "Those sellers are from water worlds. Their goods are mostly related to healing and medicine. The red section over there is for technology. The yellow is for food." Olivia looked impressed. "You know so much about this place." Lyra had never thought of her knowledge as impressive. It was just information she had learned over years of living on the station. But seeing it through Olivia's eyes made it seem special. They walked through the market, stopping at different stalls. Olivia wanted to try everything. She tasted strange fruits that changed color in her mouth. She held glowing crystals that responded to her emotions. She listened to singing, shells that played melodies based on the listener's thoughts. At one stall, a vendor, with 6 eyes and scaled skin, held out a small box to Olivia. "For the human and her beautiful companion," he said in trade language. Olivia looked at Lyra for translation. "He is offering us a gift," Lyra explained, surprised. Such generosity was uncommon among traders. Olivia accepted the box with a small bow. "Thank you," she said in careful trade language. Inside the box were 2 bracelets made of a shimmering material that seemed to shift between solid and liquid. The trader explained through Lyra that they were friendship bands from his world. They would take on the color of the wearer's emotions when worn. Olivia immediately slipped one onto her wrist. The bracelet glowed with a warm golden light. She held the other out to Lyra. "Will you wear the other one?" Lyra hesitated. Such personal gifts were usually exchanged only between close friends or potential mates among her people. But human customs were different, and she found she wanted this connection with Olivia. She extended her lower right arm, and Olivia gently placed the bracelet around her wrist. The metal felt warm against her skin and slowly began to glow with a deep purple color matching her skin, but with flecks of gold similar to Olivia's bracelet. The trader made a sound of approval. "Very compatible energies," he said. "Only special connections create shared colors." As they continued through the market, Lyra found herself watching their bracelets. The colors shifted slightly as they moved, but always maintained the purple and gold combination. She wondered what emotions the colors represented for humans. They stopped at a food stall where small, hovering creatures served drinks in floating bubbles. Olivia laughed with delight as she poked her straw into a bubble, catching the liquid before it could spill. "You seem so happy about everything," Lyra observed, taking her own bubble drink. Olivia smiled. "How could I not be? This is what I've dreamed of my whole life. Meeting new species, seeing new worlds, learning how vast and wonderful the universe truly is." Some humans are afraid of differences, but I find them beautiful. There was that word again. Beautiful Lyra was beginning to understand that to Olivia, beauty existed in variety, not in meeting some perfect standard. As they walked past a reflective panel, Lyra caught sight of herself walking beside Olivia. For the first time, she did not immediately look away from her reflection. Instead, she studied how they looked together, the human with earth-colored hair and skin the color of sand, the Zelani with 4 arms and vibrant purple skin. They were completely different, yet somehow they complemented each other. Olivia noticed her looking. "I wish I could take a picture of us together," she said. "Would that be permitted?" Lyra hesitated. Images were considered somewhat intimate in Zelani culture. But she found herself nodding. "Yes, that would be nice." Olivia pulled out a small device and held it up. They stood close together, Lyra's upper right arm hesitantly resting on Olivia's shoulder as the human smiled and captured the image. "Look," Olivia said, showing her the screen. "We make a good pair, don't you think?" Lyra stared at the image. She had never seen herself looking so happy. Her eyes seemed to shine. Her posture was relaxed, not stiff and formal as usual. Even her skin seemed to glow more vibrantly. Later that day, they visited the art section of the market. Paintings, sculptures, and interactive creations from across the galaxy were displayed in small galleries. Olivia was drawn to a painting of 2 moons orbiting a red planet. "This reminds me of home," she said softly. "We have 1 moon, but I always wondered what it would be like to see 2 in the sky. Would you explain what the artist is saying in these symbols?" As Lyra translated the artist's statement about cosmic balance and dual nature, Olivia stood close enough that their arms touched. The contact sent a pleasant warmth through Lyra's body. "What is your home like?" Olivia asked as they moved to the next gallery. "I know about the station, but not about your actual homeworld." Lyra rarely spoke about Zolari Prime. It held too many difficult memories. But Olivia asked with such genuine interest that she found herself describing the floating cities, the crystal, forests, and the annual light festivals. "My family lives in the northern region," she explained, "where the air is cooler. The cities there are built into mountain sides rather than floating. My mother tends a garden of singing flowers. My father designs environmental systems." "Do you miss them?" Olivia asked. "Sometimes," Lyra admitted, "but visits are difficult. Zelani value family connections, but they also value success and proper matches. I have neither." Olivia frowned slightly. "What do you mean by proper matches?" Lyra hesitated, unsure how to explain Zelani expectations of beauty and partnership. Without thinking, she touched her 2 purple skin. For a Zelani to be considered attractive and worthy of a mate, they must have certain features. My appearance does not meet these standards. Olivia looked genuinely confused. "That makes no sense to me. Your appearance is stunning. Your color is unique. Your eyes are expressive and intelligent. How could anyone not see that?" The simple sincerity in Olivia's voice made Lyra feel both embarrassed and pleased. Humans were so direct with their feelings, it was both frightening and exciting. They spent the rest of the day exploring the market. Olivia purchased small gifts for her crew and a delicate crystal ornament for her quarters on Earth. She seemed fascinated by everything, asking endless questions about the origins and meanings of items. As the station's day cycle began to dim, indicating evening, Lyra realized they had spent hours together. Yet she did not feel tired as she usually did after guiding visitors. Her energy remained high, her mood light. Being with Olivia was easy, comfortable. "Would you join me for dinner in my quarters this evening?" Olivia asked as they made their way back. "I could show you some Earth foods our chef has been preparing." Lyra should have returned to her office to file reports on the trade discussions, but she found herself agreeing without hesitation. Olivia's quarters were simple, but she had added touches to make them more personal. The crystal ornament she had purchased was already displayed, catching light and throwing rainbows across the walls. Several plants from the station's garden sat in small containers, and images of Earth decorated one wall. Olivia prepared 2 plates of food, explaining each item. "This is pasta," she said, pointing to twisted shapes covered in red sauce. "This is bread. And here are vegetables similar to some you might know." The meal was different from anything Lyra had tasted before. Some flavors were strong, others subtle. The textures varied from soft to crisp. She found she enjoyed most of it, especially when Olivia explained the cultural significance of each dish on. Earth-sharing food is one of our most important ways of connecting with others, Olivia said. Food tells stories about our history, our lands, our families. What does this food tell about you? Lyra asked. Olivia smiled. It says I am adventurous, that I value tradition, but also new experiences. Much like coming to space meeting. After dinner, Olivia showed Lyra more images of Earth mountains covered in white snow, vast blue oceans, cities glowing with lights, forests filled with green plants. I hope you can see it someday, Olivia said softly. The alien woman, who thought herself unattractive, was stunned when a human noticed her across the crowded trade station. Lyra stood quietly in the corner of the great hall. Her purple skin shimmered under the bright lights, but she kept her forearms close to her body, trying not to draw attention. Her species, the Zelani, were known across the galaxy for their grace and beauty. But Lyra had always been different. Her skin was too purple, while most Zelani had blue skin. Her lower set of arms was slightly shorter than was considered ideal, and her eyes were round instead of oval-shaped. Her mother had always told her she was beautiful in her own way, but Lyra knew the truth. She had seen how Zelani males looked past her at gatherings. Lyra worked as a translator on the Celestial Nexus, a massive space station where hundreds of species came to trade and form alliances. She had chosen this job because it took her far from her homeworld, where she would not have to see the disappointment in her family's eyes when she remained unmarried year after year. Today was special. A human ship had docked at the station. Humans were still new to space travel, having only left their solar system 100 years ago. Most aliens found them strange and unpredictable. Lyra had studied their language and customs, but had never met one in person. Ambassador Trell, her supervisor, had assigned her to guide the human delegation during their stay. You speak their language best, he had told her. And they won't expect you to be like other Zelani. Lyra knew what he really meant. The humans wouldn't know she was supposed to be more blue and less purple. They wouldn't notice her imperfect arms or oddly shaped eyes. They wouldn't care that she was ugly by Zelani standards. She checked her translator device and smoothed her silver uniform. Then she walked toward the docking area where the humans would arrive. Her heart beat quickly. She was nervous, but also excited to test her knowledge of human language and behavior. The airlock doors slid open with a soft hiss. 5 humans stepped through. They looked similar to many species in the galaxy, with 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 head. But there was something different about them. A kind of energy that Lyra could almost feel. 4 of them were male. According to her studies, they had short hair and wore blue uniforms with silver badges. The 5th was female with long hair the color of rich earth. She wore the same uniform but with gold trim instead of silver. Welcome to Celestial Nexus, Lyra said in careful human English. I am Lyra, your assigned translator and guide during your stay. The female human stepped forward. I am Captain Olivia Kim of the Earthship Explorer. She smiled, showing white teeth. These are my officers. We are honored to be guests at your station. Lyra was surprised. The human captain spoke slowly and clearly, as if she knew Lyra was still learning their language. This small kindness made Lyra stand a little straighter. I will show you to your quarters, Captain Kim, she said. Then I can give you a tour of the main trading floor if you wish. Captain Kim nodded. That would be wonderful. Lyra. And please call me Olivia. We humans aren't very formal. As they walked through the station's curved hallways, Lyra explained the different sections and safety protocols. The human officers looked at everything with wide eyes, asking questions about the artificial gravity and air recycling systems. Olivia listened carefully, often nodding. At Lyra's answers, the humans seemed most amazed by the other alien species they passed. Some had multiple limbs, others floated rather than walked. Many communicated through colors or scents rather than sounds. Do all these different beings really work together here? Olivia asked as they watched a group of jellyfish-like creatures glide past. Most of the time, Lyra answered. Sometimes there are disagreements, but the Nexus Council maintains peace. After showing the humans to their rooms, Lyra took them to the observation deck. A giant window showed the swirling purple and blue gas giant that the station orbited. Stars sparkled in the distance, and small ships moved between the station and the planet's moons. "It's beautiful," Olivia said, standing next to Lyra at the window. Her eyes reflected the stars, almost as beautiful as you. Lyra felt her skin warm with surprise. No one had ever called her beautiful before, especially not someone from another species. She must have misunderstood the humans. "Words, I think you meant to say the view is beautiful," she corrected. Olivia looked directly at Lyra, studying her face. "No, I meant both. The view and you. Your skin is like the most gorgeous sunset on Earth." Lyra did not know how to respond. Her translator must be malfunctioning. She would need to check it later. Perhaps human compliments did not translate well. The next day, Lyra met the humans at their quarters to begin official trade discussions. She had spent extra time preparing her appearance, though. She told herself it was only because she was representing the station to important visitors. Throughout the meeting, she noticed Olivia watching her. When their eyes met, the human would smile slightly, causing a strange fluttering feeling in Lyra's chest. She tried to focus on translating the complex trade terms, but found herself distracted by the human captain's presence. After the meeting, Olivia asked Lyra, "Could you show me more of the station? I would like to learn about daily life here, not just official business." They walked together through the residential areas where aliens of all types had created homes away from their planets. Some sections mimicked different environments, hot and humid, cold and dry, or filled with water for aquatic species. "This is amazing," Olivia said as they passed a garden where plants from 100 worlds grew together. "How do you handle so many different needs?" Lyra had never thought much about it. The Nexus was simply home to her. "We adapt," she said. "Some areas are separated for specific requirements, but mostly we find ways to share space." They stopped at a viewing platform overlooking the main plaza below. Hundreds of aliens moved about, shopping, eating, talking. The noise was a mixture of languages and sounds. "Do you ever feel lonely here?" Olivia asked suddenly, "among so many different beings?" Lyra thought about the question. No one had ever asked her that before. "Yes," she admitted. "Sometimes even surrounded by others. I feel alone. My people are here, but I am different from them." Olivia nodded. "I understand that feeling. On Earth, I often felt out of place too. My ideas were different from others. They thought I was too interested in space, too eager to meet other species. They called me strange. You don't seem strange to me," Lyra said. Olivia smiled. "That is the beauty of meeting someone from another world. They don't know what normal is supposed to be." Over the next few days, Lyra spent most of her time with the human delegation, but especially with Olivia. She learned that humans were curious about everything. They wanted to taste alien foods, try alien games, and understand alien beliefs. They were not afraid of differences. They celebrated them. One evening, Olivia invited Lyra to dinner in the human quarters. The other officers were there too, and they asked Lyra questions about her life and culture. When she explained that she was considered unusual looking among her people, they seemed confused. "But your color is amazing," one officer said. "It's like the northern lights on Earth." Another added, "And having 4 arms must be so useful. I wish I had extra hands." Lyra had never thought of her differences as good things, but the humans spoke as if they envied her. She felt something new growing inside her, pride in her unique features. Later, when the others had left, Olivia showed Lyra pictures of Earth on a small device. There were images of oceans, mountains, and cities. Olivia pointed to a sunset where the sky turned deep purple. "See," she said, "this is what your skin reminds me of. It's the most beautiful time of day on our world." Lyra touched the screen gently. "Your world is lovely. Not as lovely as the stars," Olivia replied. "But it's home." She looked at Lyra curiously. "Would you ever want to visit Earth someday?" The question startled Lyra. She had never considered visiting other worlds, especially not one as distant as Earth. "Me?" she asked. "Why would you want me to see your planet?" Olivia moved closer. I enjoy your company. Lyra, you see things differently from humans. You ask interesting questions, and she hesitated. I find you beautiful. There was that word again. Beautiful. Lyra had begun to believe that perhaps to human eyes she was not ugly. But the way Olivia said it with such sincerity made her wonder if it might actually be true. The humans would stay on the station for 3 more weeks before Lyra had dreaded their eventual departure. Now she found herself counting the days with sadness. Each moment with Olivia became precious. Each new discovery they shared together felt important. What Lyra did not know was that their time together was changing her. How others saw her and how she saw herself was beginning to shift in ways she could not yet understand. And the greatest changes were still to come. The final week of the human delegation's stay on Celestial Nexus arrived too quickly. Lyra found herself counting the remaining days with growing sadness. She had spent most of her free time with Olivia, showing her hidden corners of the station, introducing her to different species and explaining the complex politics of the Galactic Alliance. Today they were scheduled to attend a formal gathering hosted by the Station Council. Several important trade agreements would be signed, including the first ever between humans and the collective alien governments. Lyra had been asked to not only translate, but to formally introduce Captain Olivia Kim to the council. Lyra dressed with special care. Her ceremonial outfit was silver and blue with decorative patterns along the sleeves. Her 4 hands trembled slightly as she applied traditional Zelani facial markings, small silver dots in a pattern across her forehead. She rarely wore the markings as they tended to draw attention to her unusual features. But today was special. When she arrived at Olivia's quarters, the human captain was dressed in her most formal uniform, a deep blue jacket with gold buttons and trim white pants and shining black boots. Her hair was pulled back in a neat style, and she wore a small pin with the Earth symbol. Lyra. She said, her eyes widening. You look magnificent. The human's open admiration still caused Lyra's skin to warm with pleasure. Though they had spent many days together, she had not grown used to Olivia's direct compliments. You look very formal as well, she replied. Is this your military best dress? Olivia nodded, turning slightly to show the uniform. I rarely wear this. It's saved for the most important occasions? She smiled. This is definitely one of those. They walked together to the Grand Council chamber. The circular room had been designed to accommodate all member species. There were raised platforms for taller beings, water tanks for aquatic representatives, and climate-controlled pods for those requiring special atmospheres. The ceiling was a dome of transparent material, showing the stars and nearby gas giant. Delegates from 20 different worlds were already present, their varied forms and colors creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. Ambassador Trell, Lyra's supervisor, noticed their arrival and moved toward them, his blue skin shimmering in the light. Captain Kim, he said, bowing slightly. The council is ready to begin the ceremony. Please take your place at the central podium. Lyra guided Olivia to the designated area. She would stand beside her to translate, though Olivia had been practicing the formal greeting in Galactic Standard Language. As they took their positions, Lyra noticed many eyes turning toward them. Some looked curious, others seemed impressed. The ceremony began with traditional music sounds that represented harmony among different species. Lyra whispered explanations to Olivia, who listened with rapt attention. When the time came for her introduction, Lyra stepped forward, her voice clear and confident. Honored members of the Galactic Council, I present Captain Olivia Kim of Earth, first ambassador to the Celestial Nexus. She comes in peace, seeking friendship and trade. She speaks for her world and brings greetings from all humans. Olivia then stepped forward and, to Lyra's surprise and pride, began speaking in nearly perfect Galactic Standard. Great Council of the Stars, I bring greetings from Earth. We are young among spacefaring peoples, but eager to learn and share. Our differences make us stronger together. Our similarities remind us we are all children of the cosmos. We seek peaceful exchange of knowledge, resources, and friendship. A murmur of approval rippled through the chamber. Most new species required years of contact before attempting the complex galactic language. The humans' effort impressed the council members. The head counselor, a tall being with crystalline features, responded, "Earth is welcome to our alliance, Captain Kim. Your willingness to learn our ways speaks well of your people. The treaties we signed today mark the beginning of a new chapter for all our worlds." The formal signing proceeded with representatives from each world applying their marks or genetic identifiers to the agreement. When it was Olivia's turn, she signed with an earth pen, a gesture that seemed quaintly physical compared to the biological or energy signatures of other species. After the ceremony, a celebration began. Food and drink from all member worlds was served. Musicians and performers demonstrated cultural arts from across the galaxy. Lyra stayed close to Olivia, explaining customs and helping her navigate the complex social interactions. Several delegates approached them curious about Earth and humans. Olivia answered their questions with patience and humor, occasionally turning to Lyra for help with translation, though she noticed Olivia needed her help less and less. The human had been studying the language diligently. As the celebration continued, Lyra noticed a group of Zilani delegates watching her. They were from her homeworld, their perfectly blue skin and oval eyes marking them as ideal examples of her species. They whispered among themselves, occasionally glancing in her direction. Of them, a male named Velix approached Lyra. "I did not expect to see one of our kind so closely associated with the new species," he said, his tone slightly disapproving. Lyra straightened her posture. "Captain Kim requested the best translator on the station. Ambassador Trell assigned me to the position." Velix studied her, his eyes lingering on her purple skin. "Your unusual coloring must be fascinating to the humans. They seem to appreciate oddities." Before Lyra could respond, Olivia appeared beside her, having sensed the tension. Even without understanding the Zilani language, "Is everything all right, Lyra?" she asked, her hand lightly touching Lyra's upper arm. Velix switched to Galactic Standard. "I was just commenting on how fortunate my countrywoman is to have such an important assignment." Olivia smiled, though Lyra could see a certain sharpness in her eyes. "We are the fortunate ones. Translator Lyra has been invaluable to our mission. Her knowledge and skills are exceptional. I will be recommending her for a permanent position as liaison between Earth and the Celestial Nexus." Velix appeared surprised. "I see." He bowed slightly to Olivia, then moved away, rejoining the other Zilani, who immediately began questioning him. "What was that about?" Olivia asked when they were alone. "Just old prejudices." Lyra explained he was surprised to see someone like me in a prominent role. Olivia's expression darkened. "Someone like you? Meaning what?" Lyra hesitated, then decided to be honest. "My appearance is considered flawed among my people. They believe I should have a lesser position, not one where I represent our species." Olivia shook her head firmly. "There is nothing flawed about you. Your people have a very narrow view of beauty if they cannot see how remarkable you are." The human's words warmed Lyra's heart. She had begun to see herself differently through Olivia's eyes, to consider that perhaps her unique features were not flaws, but simply differences. The celebration continued into the night. Lyra introduced Olivia to various delicacies from across the galaxy. The human tried everything offered to her with enthusiasm, even foods that many species found challenging. She danced to alien music, her movements adapting to the unfamiliar rhythms. She spoke with delegates from worlds so different from her own that communication seemed almost impossible. Yet she found ways to connect. Throughout it all, Lyra watched with growing admiration. Humans were adaptable, curious, and brave. In just a few weeks, Olivia had learned enough about alien cultures to navigate complex social situations. She showed respect without fear, interest without judgment. She was everything Lyra had never known she wanted in a friend, and perhaps something more. As the celebration began to wind down, Olivia took Lyra's hand. "I need some air," she said. "Would you show me that quiet observation deck we visited last week?" They slipped away from the crowd, walking through the quieter corridors of the station. The observation deck was empty, its lights dimmed to better show the spectacular view of space. The gas giant filled half the window. Its swirling storms creating patterns of purple, orange, and blue stars glittered beyond. and the distant flash of ships moving through jump points added movement to the cosmic scene. Olivia stood close to Lyra, both of them looking out at the vastness of space. "In 3 days I have to leave," she said softly. Lyra had been trying not to think about Olivia's departure. The human delegation would return to Earth to report on their successful mission. The explorer would take them home a journey of several weeks, even with their fastest engines. "I know," she replied, equally quiet. Olivia turned to face her, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "I don't want to leave you behind," she said, "but I must return to Earth to complete my mission." Lyra felt a tightness in her chest. 3 weeks ago, she had barely known this human existed. Now she could not imagine her days without their conversations, their shared discoveries, their growing connection. "Will you come back?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Olivia took both of Lyra's upper hands in her own. "I will, but I was hoping for something more." She took a deep breath. "I want you to come with me. Not right away, that would be too sudden. But perhaps after I report back I could return with an official invitation. For you to visit Earth as a cultural ambassador." Lyra felt as if the artificial gravity had suddenly failed. Her heart's beat rapidly. "Me go to Earth," Olivia nodded. "You could see the oceans and mountains I told you about, meet my family, learn about human culture firsthand." And she hesitated. "I could learn more about you, away from the expectations of your people." 3 months had passed since the human delegation left Celestial Nexus. Lyra continued her work as a translator, but everything felt different now. She checked her messages daily, hoping for news from Earth. The distance between stars made communication slow. Each message took weeks to travel, even through the fastest relay systems. Her friendship bracelet still glowed with purple and gold, though the colors seemed fainter now due to distance. She touched it often, wondering if Olivia still wore hers, thinking of her across the vastness of space. Ambassador Trell had called Lyra to his office several times since the humans left. Each time he asked detailed questions about Earth culture, human biology, and their technology. She answered as best she could, though she often wondered about his interest. Today Lyra sat at her desk translating trade documents when her communication panel chimed with an official alert. The message bore the seal of the Galactic Council Priority Level 1. She opened it with trembling hands. "Translator Lyra of Zalari Prime. You are hereby invited to participate in the first cultural exchange program between Celestial Nexus and Earth. You have been selected based on your exceptional service during the recent diplomatic mission and personal recommendation from Captain Olivia Kim of the Earthship Explorer. If you accept this assignment, you will travel to Earth for a period of 6 standard months, serving as cultural ambassador. Please report to Ambassador Trell for full details." Lyra read the message 3 times, her 4 hands gripping the edges of her desk. Olivia had done it. She had kept her promise. Lyra would go to Earth. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of preparations, medical examinations to ensure she could tolerate Earth's atmosphere, and gravity briefings on human customs and taboos, packing her few personal possessions, saying goodbye to colleagues. Ambassador Trell provided her with special devices to help her communicate and monitor her health on the alien world. A small Earth transport ship arrived at the station to collect her. The human crew treated her with respect but maintained a professional distance. None of them was Olivia, which disappointed Lyra, though she understood the captain of a major vessel would not be sent on a simple transport mission. The journey would take 3 weeks. During this time, Lyra studied everything she could about Earth. She learned about its diverse ecosystems, its many cultures, its complex history. She practiced human languages, focusing on the one called English that Olivia spoke. She watched recordings of human entertainment to better understand their emotions and social patterns. As the ship approached the Sol system, Lyra spent hours in the observation room watching as the distant yellow star grew larger. Each day brought new sights. First, the outer planets, gas giants like the one Celestial Nexus orbited, then the asteroid belt, then the inner rocky worlds, and finally the blue-green planet that was her destination. Earth looked both familiar and alien from space. Vast oceans covered most of its surface. Clouds swirled in its atmosphere. Land masses in shades of green and brown created patterns across the blue. The sight of it made Lyra's hearts beat faster. This was Olivia's home, the place that had shaped her, the world she had promised to show Lyra. The ship docked at Earth Orbital Station, a much smaller facility than Celestial Nexus, but impressive for such a young, spacefaring species. Lyra was escorted through curved corridors to a reception area, where a small group of humans waited, and there among them was Olivia. Her earth-colored hair was shorter now, but her smile was just as Lyra remembered, bright and genuine. Her eyes lit up when she saw Lyra, and she stepped forward from the group. "Welcome to Earth space." "Lyra," she said formally. Then more softly, "I missed you." Lyra wanted to embrace her as humans often did with friends, but was unsure of the protocol. In this official setting, she settled for extending her upper right hand, which Olivia took in both of hers. "Thank you for the invitation," she replied. "I am honored to represent Celestial Nexus in this exchange." A human male in a uniform similar to Olivia's stepped forward. "Captain Kim has told us much about you, translator Lyra. He said, we hope your stay on Earth will be comfortable and educational. I am Admiral Carter, head of the Earth space." Command Lyra bowed slightly in the manner she had learned, was respectful to human leaders. "I look forward to learning about your world and sharing knowledge of mine." After the formal introductions, Olivia led Lyra to a viewing area. The entire Earth was visible below them, a sphere of blue, white, and green. "Against the blackness of space, it's beautiful," Lyra said honestly. "More varied than any planet I've seen." Olivia smiled. "That's one thing humans are proud of, the diversity of our world. Not just the landscapes, but the life forms, the cultures. We have thousands of languages, millions of species. It's not always peaceful, but it's never boring." They would descend to the planet. The next day, Olivia explained, the human scientists wanted Lyra to have time to adjust to the orbital station before experiencing Earth's gravity and atmosphere. "Where will I stay on your world?" Lyra asked. Olivia looked slightly nervous about this question. "We have prepared a special facility for you in a place called Colorado. It's a research center, but very comfortable with private quarters." She hesitated. "I hope you don't mind, but I will be stationed there as well as your official liaison." Lyra felt relief flood through her. She had worried she might be separated from Olivia, assigned to some unknown humans. "I would like that," she said. That night in her private quarters on the station, Lyra looked out the small window at Earth. She thought about how far she had come. Not just the physical distance, though, that was vast, but the journey from who she had been, a lonely translator, hiding from her people's judgment. Now she was an ambassador preparing to visit a world no Zelani had ever seen. The next morning, Lyra boarded a small shuttle with Olivia and 2 human scientists. The craft would take them through Earth's atmosphere. To the surface, Olivia explained the process, careful to warn Lyra about the sensation of increased gravity and the noise of atmospheric entry. "Are you nervous?" Olivia asked as they strapped into their seats. A little, Lyra admitted, but excited too. She touched her bracelet, which had begun glowing more brightly as soon as she had reunited with Olivia. Olivia noticed the gesture and smiled, holding up her own wrist. The golden bracelet shimmered in response. "Still compatible energies," she said. The shuttle launched from the station, beginning its controlled fall toward Earth. Lyra watched through the small window as flames appeared around the craft. The scientists had explained this was normal, a result of friction with the atmosphere, but it was still alarming to see fire surrounding them. Olivia reached across and took one of Lyra's hands, holding it firmly as the shuttle shook and rattled. "It's okay," she said. "This happens every time. Perfectly safe." The descent seemed to last forever, though Lyra knew it was only minutes. Finally, the shaking stopped and the view outside cleared. They were flying above white clouds, the curve of the planet visible in the distance. Lyra gasped at the sight. She had seen images, of course, but nothing compared to seeing it directly. The shuttle broke through the cloud layer, revealing mountains below, tall peaks covered with green trees and white snow valleys with flowing rivers. Small settlements scattered across the landscape. "That's Colorado," Olivia said, pointing. "One of our more beautiful regions. We thought you'd appreciate the mountains since you mentioned your home region had similar features. The shuttle landed on a flat area near a group of buildings nestled among the trees. As the door opened, Lyra smelled earth air for the first time. It was rich with scents she'd never encountered before. Plant life, water minerals. It filled her lungs, making her feel slightly dizzy. Take it slow. Olivia advised, supporting Lyra as she took her first steps on Earth. The gravity is slightly stronger than you're used to, and there's more oxygen in our atmosphere than on the station. Lyra felt heavy, her forearms seeming to drag with the increased gravitational pull, but she also felt strangely energized. The air, though, alien, seemed to give her more energy with each breath. The sunlight warm on her purple skin felt different from the artificial light of the station. The research center was a collection of modern buildings with large windows reflecting the surrounding mountains. Olivia explained it had been built specifically for the extraterrestrial exchange program, with living quarters, laboratories, meeting rooms, and recreational facilities. Your rooms have been adjusted for Zelani comfort, Olivia said as she led Lyra through the main building. We consulted the biological data from your medical exams. The temperature, humidity, and lighting should be similar to your homeworld. The private quarters assigned to Lyra were spacious, with areas designed for all 4 of her arms to be used comfortably. The bed was larger than standard human size with adjustable firmness. The bathroom facilities had been modified for her physiology. There was even a small garden area with plants similar to those from her world. This is more than I expected, Lyra said, touched by the effort that had gone into making her comfortable. Olivia smiled. We want you to feel at home here. She pointed to a door on one side of the room. My quarters are through there. We thought having me nearby would help with any adjustments or questions you might have at any hour, but I can move elsewhere if you'd prefer more privacy. Lyra shook her head quickly. No, this is perfect. I would feel better knowing you are close. 3 months had passed since Lyra arrived on Earth. Each day brought new discoveries, new experiences, new understanding. She had visited the ocean, standing speechless at the sight of water stretching to the horizon. She had explored human cities, marveling at the variety of architecture, food, music, and people. She had even met Olivia's parents, who welcomed her with genuine warmth and curiosity. Today, Lyra sat in her quarters at the research center reviewing her latest report to the Celestial Nexus Council. Her official duties required regular updates on human culture, technology, and potential areas for cooperation. But beyond these formal requirements, she found herself wanting to share the wonder of this world. Her reports had grown, from dry factual accounts to passionate descriptions of Earth and its people. Olivia knocked on her door, entering with 2 cups of the warm beverage humans called coffee. Lyra had developed a taste for it, especially the sweet varieties with added flavors. Still working on your report? Olivia asked. Setting 1 cup beside Lyra nodded, taking a grateful sip of the coffee. I was trying to explain your art to the council, how humans create images, music, and stories, not just for practical purposes, but for emotional expression. It is difficult to translate. Olivia sat beside her. Their chairs had been specially designed to accommodate their different physiques, allowing them to work comfortably side by side. Do Zelani not create art for pleasure? She asked. We do. But it's different, Lyra explained. Our art is about precision harmony patterns that reflect mathematical truths. The idea of art that intentionally provokes sadness or shows imperfection is foreign to my people. Olivia considered this. That's why you were so surprised by the abstract paintings we saw at the museum. Lyra nodded. Human art celebrates diversity, even flaws. It finds beauty in the unexpected. She looked at Olivia. Like you found beauty in me. The words slipped out before she could stop them. In 3 months on Earth, Lyra had become more direct, more emotional, more human in her communication. But this admission felt too revealing. Olivia reached out, taking one of Lyra's hands. I still do, she said softly. Their relationship had grown closer during Lyra's time on Earth. They spent most days together, sharing meals, exploring, and learning from each other. Their evenings often ended with long conversations about their different worlds. When Lyra had nightmares about the Crushing pressure of Earth's gravity, Olivia would sit with her until she could sleep again. When Olivia struggled with the complex politics of the exchange program, Lyra offered insights and support. Their friendship had deepened into something more, though neither had put it into words. Yet in small gestures they expressed their growing feelings. A lingering touch when passing an object. The way Olivia always saved Lyra's. Favorite foods when they dined together. How Lyra learned to braid Olivia's hair in the mornings, a task that utilized all four of her hands. Now sitting together in the quiet of Lyra's quarters, the unspoken feelings between them seemed to fill the room. Lyra. I need to tell you something, Olivia said, her voice serious. The exchange program is halfway complete. In 3 more months you'll be expected to return to Celestial Nexus. Lyra had been trying not to think about this. Her time on Earth had always been limited. She knew this. Yet the thought of leaving filled her with a sadness, so profound it felt physical. Unless Olivia continued, you decide to stay longer. Lyra looked up, startled. What do you mean? Olivia took a deep breath. I've been speaking with Admiral Carter and the Diplomatic Corps. They've agreed that having a permanent Silani representative on Earth would benefit both our peoples. They are prepared to offer you an extended position if you want it. Stay on Earth permanently. The possibility had never occurred to Lyra. What would that mean for her life, her career, her connection to her own people? What about Celestial Nexus, she asked. My position there. You could maintain communication, serve as the official link between Earth and the station. Olivia explained. You would need to return occasionally for updates and consultations, but Earth could be your primary residence. Lyra felt overwhelmed by the possibility. For so long, her identity had been tied to her role on the station. Her small, comfortable life there felt distant now, almost like a memory from someone else. There is another option, Olivia said when Lyra remained silent. You could return to Celestial Nexus as planned. She hesitated, and I could go with you. Lyra stared at her. You would leave Earth, your home, your career. Olivia nodded. I've already spoken with my superiors. They agree having a human representative permanently stationed at Celestial Nexus would be valuable. The station is becoming a hub for human trade and diplomacy. Someone needs to represent Earth interests there. But your family, Lyra protested. Your world, I would miss them, Olivia admitted. But we could visit Earth. I would not be giving up my world, just expanding my horizons. She smiled. Besides, my father already jokes that he expects grandchildren who can speak Silani. The casual reference to children stunned Lyra into silence. Such a thing was biologically impossible, of course. But the implication that Olivia saw their relationship continuing into a shared future made her hearts race. The decision doesn't have to be made today, Olivia added. We still have time. That night Lyra could not sleep. She stood at her window looking out at the Earth sky. The stars were different here, a different perspective on the same galaxy. Somewhere up there was Celestial Nexus orbiting, its gas giant. The place that had been her home for so long, she thought about what returning would mean. Resuming her old life, but with the memory of Earth forever changing how she saw everything. She thought about Olivia coming with her. How would a human adapt to life on the station? Would she grow to resent leaving her homeworld? Then she considered staying on Earth. Becoming the first Zilani to make this world her home. Learning more about humans, their art, their emotions, their way of seeing beauty and difference. It was frightening, but also exhilarating. Soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Olivia stood in the doorway connecting their rooms. I saw your light was still on, she said. Cannot sleep either. Lyra shook her head. Too many thoughts. Olivia joined her at the window. They stood side by side looking up at the stars. Whatever you decide. Olivia said softly. I want you to know these months have been the most important of my life. Lyra turned to look at her. The human who had changed everything, the one who had seen beauty where others saw flaws, the one who had crossed the stars and somehow found her. I never expected any of this, she admitted. When you first came to the station, I was just a translator doing my job. I never imagined standing on Earth, looking at your stars with you." Livia smiled. "But here we are, Lyra repeated. The improbability of it all suddenly struck her. Of all the beings in the galaxy, they had found each other. Despite different worlds, different bodies, different perceptions of beauty. They had created a connection that transcended these differences. Something important occurred to Lyra in that moment. Perhaps this was the true purpose of the exchange program. Not just to share technology or establish trade, but to discover that connection was possible across the vastness of difference. That beauty existed in unexpected places. That home could be redefined. I think she said slowly that I would like to stay on Earth. At least for now. She looked at Olivia. To see more, to learn more. To be with you, Olivia's smile was like sunrise. I was hoping you would say that. For a moment they stood in silence, the weight of the decision settling between them. Then Olivia reached up, gently touching Lyra's face. "There is a human custom," she said, her voice soft. "When two people care deeply for each other, when they choose to be together." She leaned closer. "May I show you?" Lyra nodded, uncertain what to expect, but trusting Olivia completely. Olivia closed the distance between them, pressing her lips gently against Lyra's. The kiss was soft, brief, perfect. The physical sensation was pleasant, but the emotional impact was overwhelming. Lyra felt as if the stars themselves had entered her body, filling her with light. "Oh," she whispered when Olivia pulled back. "That is a very nice custom." Olivia laughed, the sound joyful in the quiet room. "We have many nice customs I would like to share with you, if you'll let me." In response, Lyra reached out with all four arms, pulling Olivia close. Her heart beat rapidly with nervousness and happiness. This was not how she had imagined her life unfolding, but it felt right. "Feels like home," she whispered. The next morning, Lyra sent 2 messages. The first to Ambassador Trell formally, requesting an extension of her stay on Earth with detailed explanations of the diplomatic advantages. The second to her family, on Zilari Prime. It was time they knew about her new life, her new purpose, and the human who had shown her that being different was not a flaw, but perhaps her greatest gift. As she sent the messages, Olivia came up behind her, wrapping her arms around Lyra's waist. "Any regrets?" she asked. Lyra turned in the embrace, looking into the eyes of the being who had crossed the stars to find her. "None," she said, "and so much to look forward to." Their bracelets glowed brightly purple and gold, compatible energies across galaxies. For a Zilani who had always felt out of place and a human who had longed for the stars they had found home in each other. In the months that followed, Lyra became a familiar figure at human diplomatic functions. Her purple skin and forearms, no longer drawing stares but respectful greetings. She learned more Earth customs taught humans about her culture and built bridges between worlds.